welcome to lesson number 13, which is our last lesson. And today we are going to talk about the next steps you should be taking after finishing your elimination diet. So if you have managed to finish your elimination diet, first of all, congratulations, because I know that it was not an easy job to do. And by now, you should have already pretty good idea which foods are causing you troubles. Ideally, you should feel much better both physically and emotionally. You have definitely much better understanding how your body actually works and how it reacts to certain foods. If you watched all my lessons, you should be equipped with pretty solid strategies on how to make your digestion as smooth as possible. You definitely feel more empowered to do healthy and smart food choices. And you should also feel proud of yourself for having such amazing time management, planning, and prioritizing skills, because elimination diet is not an easy task to do. And in ideal case, you have managed to identify your most problematic trigger foods. So you know what's causing you diarrhea or what makes you feel constantly bloated. And let's say, for example, you know that it's eggs and dairy products that are causing you troubles. And right now, you have basically two options how to approach the situation. A, you can eliminate those trigger foods entirely from your diet. This would be especially useful if eating those certain foods cause you so much discomfort that it's not really worth it for you to actually eat them because you really don't enjoy what happens after. So you can completely cut those foods from your diet, which will obviously require some planning and strategizing because you will need to figure out how to replace those nutrients in your diet. And you will need to figure out what you are going to eat instead. Second option you have is to eliminate those trigger foods most of the time and only eat them occasionally and not in too big quantities. Let's say in situations where you cannot prepare your own meals and there is someone else cooking for you and you don't really have control over what ends up on your plate. Social gatherings, business lunches, or when you travel. You know that eating those foods won't make you feel super great afterwards, but you are okay to manage that as long as it wasn't a huge quantity. The elimination diet might not work for everyone, unfortunately. So if that's your case, you have done the elimination diet with hope that it will help you identify your trigger foods, but it just didn't work for you. You also have a couple of options. So if you feel like you fall into these following three categories, it might be a good time for you to consider to visit a healthcare professional. A, you feel better but not great. B, you don't feel better and you actually don't know what foods are triggering your symptoms. And C, you feel like you are sensitive to just about everything. First category, you felt better during the elimination phase, but not completely great, and your symptoms did not disappear completely. Let's say that you were testing gluten and you removed gluten from your diet during the elimination phase, and you felt much better, but not perfectly great. And then when you reintroduced gluten back to your diet in the reintroduction phase, you felt extremely bad. This unfortunately might be a sign that you actually have a celiac disease and you did not actually manage to completely cut gluten out from your diet during the elimination phase because a lot of food products are contaminated with traces of gluten. If this is your case, you should definitely visit gastroenterologist to get a proper diagnosis. The second category are people who did not really feel better during the elimination phase and they did not manage to figure out what actually triggers them. So if this is your case, what happened is that you most likely did not manage to put your trigger food on the elimination list. So you can either basically run the elimination phase again and experiment with different foods, or you can go and see a professional who specializes in integrative medicine or nutritional therapy. Third category are people who feel like they are sensitive to just about everything. There might be multiple reasons why this is happening, and in this case, I would really recommend you not to experiment anymore and go and seek a professional medical help to get proper diagnosis so you can actually solve your problem. So that sums up our last lesson, and I really hope that you manage to figure out your trigger foods so you will be able to do smarter and healthier food choices in the future, and food will no longer make you feel miserable and bloated, and you will be able to successfully resolve most of your unpleasant symptoms.